Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, members of the HKRMA. I would attempt to use my bad Cantonese on you, but all I'll say is, "Oh hoi sam gindo le de." So, you don't want to listen to that today, so Gamyat or Wui Gong Ying Man. So I'm Leonie Valentine, Managing Director for Sales and Operations Google Hong Kong. And today, yes, I am going to talk to you about smarter retail and some research that we did last year and why Hong Kong needs to accelerate its digitisation.
Today's customer is increasingly omni-channel. We wake up, we get on our mobile
No.
phone, we look on social media, we see a lipstick color that...
It's a little early. Thank you. That's digital for you, unexpected. So first, a little about me. This is the stuff that you actually won't find on Google or on LinkedIn. It's a little known fact that I actually started my career in retail 34 years ago, working as a retail assistant in a one-stop shop in rural Australia. So back in 1984, retail wasn't particularly smart. There were no computers to track store inventory, there were no customer loyalty programs, and receipts were not itemised unless they were written out by hand. Credit was given by the store owners to the people that they trusted, right, on account. Mostly local business people like my uncle, who'd fuel up his car, probably add a couple of sweets or a magazine, and then didn't want that itemised because then the tax department wouldn't know about it when he claimed his fuel. So that was how it was in the 80s. It wasn't smart, but it was sure personal, really personal. We knew every customer by sight. We knew their preferences for snacks, sandwiches, milk, cigarettes, the sort of daily bread that they bought. It was a classic corner store, much like you'd see in Hong Kong today, serving the everyday needs of very local people. Nothing fancy, just friendly, 7 days a week, 364 days a year service. One day closed, which was Christmas Day. So 14 years later, in 1999, I started my internet career. Google had already been running for 1 year. Amazon and eBay had been running for 4 years in 1999. And the hype of the .com and e-everything era was really hitting its peak. That first year saw the launch of Apple's iBook, Napster, the BlackBerry 850, if anyone remembers that, Bluetooth version 1, technologies that would lead to the disruption of home computing, the music industry, mobile phones and wireless connectivity. More and more businesses wanted to get online, and the online to offline customer experience was taking its first tentative steps. Back then when I was working in internet, there were all these wonder kids around, boldly predicting that bricks and mortar retailers were doomed to dust. Everything was going to be e-enabled, saving everyone a whole lot of time for pursuits other than shopping. So if we fast forward to today, according to a recent study this is actually from eMarketer, worldwide retail and e-commerce sales, e-commerce actually made up 10.2% of total retail sales worldwide in 2017. That was up from 8.6% in the previous year. The growth in share was largely influenced by the Asia-Pacific region, where 14.6% of overall retail spend went towards e-commerce. However, in Hong Kong, where retail is a key driver of our economy, right, e-commerce, you can see it there, is just 4.68% of total sales. So $49.96 billion in sales here, but just $2.34 billion in e-commerce sales. So rather than being doomed to dust, it would appear that bricks and mortar retailers are surviving and in some cases thriving. But how? So in APAC, retail, e-commerce and m-commerce growth is actually going to account for 17.6% of total sales this year. That's a $1.744 trillion opportunity, and m-commerce, which is super important, is 1.38 trillion of that. These are big numbers. Much of that growth was actually driven by China. Last year alone, China made up two-thirds of m-commerce sales worldwide, driven by their mobile-first audience And those sales are actually expected to triple for Chinese consumers from $909 billion to more than $2.5 trillion by 2021. These are really big numbers, which is why I need my speech today, because there's a lot of numbers in it. I apologise. M-commerce actually skews much lower in Hong Kong. We only have about a 37% share of M-commerce in our e-commerce, which is already quite low. And if I compare that to China, M-commerce in China is today 81.6% of e-commerce. So mobile experience really is very key to the sort of digital transformation and innovation that Jan was talking about. Now, it's thought that the dense layouts of urban Hong Kong actually encourages consumers to just pick up items locally, you know, in lieu of going online. It's the same argument that I heard when I moved to Hong Kong in 2011, and I questioned why I couldn't buy a mobile phone or buy groceries online here. Oh, there's no need, was the reply. There's a shop on every corner in Hong Kong. No one shops online. This is in 2011 is what I got told. Should I tell that to the millennials in my team? So they were already buying dresses from Korea, shoes from Taobao, and books from Amazon in 2011. But we really didn't have as much of a digital industry here then. So while digital investments by some retailers have lagged behind, most consumers have actually embraced digital. So in 2017, this is a US Forrester number, 58% of non-grocery sales were influenced by a digital touch point, compared to just 13% in 2004. So while today's consumer wants to compare products, features, price, benefits, etc. before they purchase, that's both online and offline. It's something we have to think about. So if I come back to Hong Kong, when we compare Hong Kong to other digital cities around the world, Hong Kong really is in the early stages of its digital transformation. 81% of the population here is connected to the internet at home. 98% of smartphone users actually go online at least once a day, right? So Hong Kong should actually rank really highly in digital integration. However, a 2016 report by the Economist Intelligence Unit ranked Hong Kong 4th amongst 11 Asian cities in digital transformation and 3rd amongst its nearest peers in smart city. So despite our standing as an international business and financial hub, when it comes to online presence and technology adoption, businesses in Hong Kong actually lag behind their counterparts in Asia. At Google, and also for me, we started to ponder why and what might be holding Hong Kong back from becoming a smarter digital city. So last year we actually commissioned research with Nielsen to conduct primary research here on the 4 key industries that actually make up 50% of Hong Kong's GDP. And that's retail, personal finance, the travel industry, and smart living products. So digital transformation for the consumer mostly focuses on lower levels of digital savviness, such as communication, free internet and information searches. Higher levels include digital activities such as online collaboration, mobile banking, e-commerce, even VR and AR experiences. But in Hong Kong, we actually found that there was a huge gap between perceived and actual digital savviness. So that was the previous slide. Sorry, I can't see my feedback screen here. Consumers perceive themselves to be much more savvy than they actually are. So 81% of Hong Kongers will say, sure, I'm digital savvy. When we tested that, only 42% are moderately savvy with how they're actually using that technology today. So one of the key challenges that we think, and it came through in the survey, that's affecting digital savviness here is trust. Trust is built upon security, critical in every type of online interaction, from converting online purchases, booking travel on smartphones, online personal finance, and using smartphones to actually make payments. So strengthening users' trust is one of the things that we think is critical to Hong Kong's digital transformation. Though generally, Hong Kong consumers are very optimistic now, more so than they've been in the past, about speedy technology advancement over the coming 24 months. So we need to get our skates on, particularly for those who are already digitally engaged. As the digital engagement accelerates, Hong Kong residents will be introduced to new engagement opportunities across many facets of their lives, including voice recognition, wearables, cashless finance, and even digital healthcare services. So digital today is already a fundamental component of how Hong Kong shops, but Hong Kong really needs to be bolder. It might surprise you to know that 89% of Hong Kongers research online before they make a purchase. 75% research on their smartphone to compare pricing and features while they're actually in your store. 40% of Hong Kongers are saying that they make purchases on their smartphones every month. When we asked corporates about their digital engagement status, so in the survey we actually surveyed 101 business and corporate clients, 79% would say that they're managing their digital activities. We're doing a lot on this front. But when we actually surveyed the same consumers about their digital experience in Hong Kong, only 20%, 1 in 5, are actually highly satisfied with their digital experience today. So, you know, the way that we look at this, investments, and I heard Carrie Lam talk about that as well, machine learning, AI, big data analysis, as well as improvements in user trust and the user interface are actually essential for businesses to boost their digital capabilities. Now, previous research had told us that Hong Kong shoppers were both selection and availability sensitive. So 28% of your shoppers are actually more likely to buy online due to a lower price or that product being available somewhere else. That's what they're searching for. They're cross-border. 55% will say that they buy online from outside of Hong Kong at least once a year, and they're cross-channel. 95% of retail commerce happens offline, but even in Hong Kong, half of that is influenced by a digital touch point. They're also mobile savvy, and this one's interesting more so than the US. 79% have a smartphone, and the 98% that I mentioned before go online once a day. So this is why that mobile experience is really very key. Net, customer data can help you create more relevant experiences, and Jan actually talked about that with his CRM as well. In the digital consumer universe, it is now all about customer journey. It begins with an online search while building a relationship that leads to interactivity and communication and ultimately to a purchase. Businesses must be able to capture the precious moments when consumers are actually, they've got a moment of intent in these moments that matter is the way that we would describe it. So here's one way to actually look at the customer journey. Right. So what we look at here is identity, intent, and intelligence. As Jan said in his presentation, you know, consumers actually want us to know more about them, to be able to personalise their experience both offline and then online and in store. So when we look at this, you know, we look at identity first. Who does your brand actually want to reach, and how are you going to reach them? So the first point here for us around Google's products, the way that we help our customers to do this is using one of our 7 products that today has over 1 billion users. So in Hong Kong, that's where we would be using our search tools, YouTube, things like Google Maps, etc., to really help in that customer journey. The second thing is to look at intent. What are they actually looking for? When we can look at these signals between where somebody has actually gone to a store, what product they've actually searched for, which videos they've consumed, we start to build a profile of, is this a newlywed that's actually looking for a product? Or is it somebody who's looking for a handbag? Is it a fashionista? Is it a beauty maven? So we can look at that intent. And then we apply intelligence, data and machine learning, to predict what those consumers will actually find more useful and try and put that information in front of them in that moment of need. So some of Google's retail customers are leveraging identity, intent, and intelligence today to build better online to offline customer journeys. I've got a short case study video from Sephora in Singapore that explains how they've used data and a customer loyalty program to measure the impact of their offline spends and offline activities, online activities on their offline and in-store purchase. Can we run the video?
Today's customer is increasingly omni-channel. We wake up, we get on our mobile phone, we look on social media, we see a lipstick color that we love, we go on sephora.com.sg and we see if it's available, and then maybe later that day we stop by the store to test out the color. This is really the journey of a consumer. We call it omni-channel, but really this is just how people are acting. If we want to fully understand the complex decision-making paths of our customers, we need to better understand not just what they do on our website or buy in our store, but also the journey beforehand. Singapore is really where we have the highest penetration of retail outlets in the region, so we wanted to take advantage of that and really see if we could use that opportunity to make this connection.
The key to bridging that gap was our customer loyalty program. With the Google Accounts team support on the integration and data analysis, we've unlocked the incredible potential of Google Analytics 360. We decided to start sending our offline purchases to our Google Analytics account to connect these purchases to existing journeys. This illuminated what online research pathways finally led to a sale, whether online or offline.
This system integration was a huge success for us. We've turned it into an ongoing CRM integration for all of our systems across Southeast Asia and Australia. We've learned that 70% of customers who research before buying visited our website on the same day of purchase. In Singapore alone, we uncovered that our return on AdWords spend was 4 times higher when offline sales were included in the path to purchase.
Cool. So why does understanding the online to offline shopping behaviour actually matter? Well, as you can see here, because Sephora could better measure the impact of their advertising investments, identify mobile as a primary traffic source to drive more offline transactions and actually at a higher value order, increasing the size of the in-store basket through online research and discovery, and then realising the impact of their own website on those purchases as well. For some retailers here today, though, a move from online to offline consumer journeys might actually be a step too far when some of the digital basics are lacking. So one of the first questions that I would hope that you would ask your digital team when you return to the office is pretty simple. Are we on Google Maps? Right? It's easy to reach more shoppers with a simple product called Google My Business. It's a free listing service that actually works across devices here in Hong Kong. And we know from our own statistics that Maps is very highly used, not only by Hong Kongers, but also by the visitors to Hong Kong. So using Google My Business, large and small retailers are able to show up when their consumers or their potential customers are actually searching for your business or for a business that's actually like yours. And that result will turn up both in Google Search and on the Google Map. It lets you post updates to showcase what's new and respond to customer reviews, and you can also add photos of your store. So my team were kind enough to do a quick search for me on Cow Key Restaurant, and this is how their GMB, next one, this is how their GMB listing will actually look. So what you can also do, I've missed my spot on here. You can see here, and the listing actually contains useful information like your address, phone numbers, popular times, and your opening hours, which is all super useful here in Hong Kong. What's more, you can actually review important insights about the people that are searching for you, even stuff like driving requests. Where are they coming from to get to your store? So it's a pretty cool product, and best of all, it's free. So please do check that out. Millions of businesses around the world every day are using this product to be found and to be discovered. Finally, I want to finish my presentation where I started and come back to our Smarter Digital City research. So you can actually go to this link here. You can see it for hongkongwithgoogle.com. I can't read that far. And download the white paper. We've started research again this year. So we're going to do this white paper as a longitudinal study in Hong Kong, and we'll be releasing the second version of the white paper in around about September or October of this year. We'll have an expanded scope as well, so looking at some of the smart city attributes across Asia and also the behaviour of some of the consumers that end up here in Hong Kong. So stay tuned for that. Google really is keen to help unlock the potential for a smarter digital city in Hong Kong. And that's really all I wanted to share with you today. Thank you very much for your time and attention.